1. The Legend of Asherah. The desert kingdom of Asherah had always been a land of stark contrasts. During the day, the sun scorched the sands, and at night, the temperature plummeted, leaving the land in a state of constant flux. The people of Asherah had learned to adapt to these extremes, building their lives around the precious oasis that dotted the vast desert. But the oases were drying up, and the once prosperous kingdom was now facing a drought that threatened to destroy it. In the heart of the kingdom stood the grand palace of Asherah, a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of its people. It was here that the young Princess Zara spent her days, her mind weighed down by the troubles of her people. Zara was not just any princess, she was beloved by her people for her compassion and courage. Yet, despite her best efforts, she could not find a solution to the drought that plagued her land. The legends of Asherah spoke of a mythical phoenix, a bird of fire and rebirth, whose descent would bring prosperity and power to the land. The phoenix was said to reside in the heart of the desert, and its appearance was a rare and wondrous event, heralded by tales of miracles and rejuvenation. But these were just stories, passed down through generations, and no one had seen the phoenix for centuries. As Zara sat in her chambers, her thoughts drifted to the tales her mother used to tell her about the phoenix. Her mother, Queen Leora, had been a woman of great wisdom and strength, and she had believed in the legend with all her heart. "The phoenix will come when Asherah needs it the most," she would say, her eyes filled with hope. But Queen Leora had passed away years ago, and with her, much of the hope in Asherah seemed to have faded. One evening, as Zara gazed out over the city from her balcony, she saw a flicker of light in the distance. It was brief, almost imperceptible, but it sparked something within her. Could it be a sign? The phoenix, or perhaps just a trick of the light? Zara's heart raced as she considered the possibilities. She knew that the only way to save her people was to find the phoenix, if it truly existed. Determined to act, Zara called upon her most trusted advisors and friends. There was Kadir, a rogue warrior with a mysterious past, whose loyalty to Zara was unwavering. Then there was Layla, a cunning merchant with a sharp mind and a knack for uncovering secrets. And finally, Amara, a wise shaman whose knowledge of the desert and its ancient lore was unparalleled. As they gathered in the palace's great hall, Zara shared her vision and her plan. "I believe the phoenix is real, and it is our only hope," she declared, her voice filled with conviction. "We must find it and bring its power back to Asherah." The decision was met with a mix of skepticism and hope, but Zara's determination was infectious. With her companions by her side, she knew they had a chance. They would embark on a perilous journey into the heart of the desert, guided by the ancient legends and their own unwavering faith. As the sun rose the next morning, casting its golden light over the kingdom, Zara and her companions set off on their quest. The journey ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but they carried with them the hopes and dreams of their people. Together, they would uncover the secrets of the desert and, perhaps, find the legendary phoenix that could save Asherah. Thus began the epic journey of Princess Zara, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and the enduring power of hope in the face of adversity. The legend of Asherah was about to be rewritten, and its people would soon learn that sometimes, the most incredible stories are the ones we create ourselves. 2. A desperate journey. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Princess Zara and her companions set forth from the palace gates, their hearts heavy with the weight of their mission. The city of Asherah lay behind them, its citizens watching with a mixture of hope and apprehension. The drought had taken its toll, and many believed this journey to be their last chance at salvation. The desert stretched out before them, an endless sea of golden dunes and rocky outcrops. The heat was already intense, even in the early morning, and the promise of the day's searing temperatures weighed on them all. Zara led the way, her eyes fixed on the horizon, her mind filled with thoughts of the phoenix and the fate of her people. Kadir, the rogue warrior, walked beside her. He was a man of few words, his face weathered by countless battles and the harsh desert sun. His loyalty to Zara was unquestionable, and his skills with a blade were unmatched. He had joined this journey not just out of duty, but out of a deep respect for the princess and her unyielding spirit. Layla, the cunning merchant, followed close behind. Her keen eyes scanned the landscape, always on the lookout for signs of danger or opportunity. She was resourceful and quick-witted, qualities that had served her well in her trade and would be invaluable on this perilous journey. Bringing up the rear was Amara, the wise shaman. Her knowledge of the desert and its ancient lore was unparalleled. She carried with her a satchel filled with herbs and potions, and her staff, adorned with feathers and charms, was a symbol of her connection to the spiritual world. Amara had lived through many cycles of the desert's harsh seasons, and her wisdom was a guiding light for the group. The first few days of their journey were grueling. The sun beat down mercilessly, and the sands seemed to stretch on forever. They traveled by night whenever possible, guided by the stars and the coolness of the desert night. During the day, they sought shelter in the shade of rocky outcrops or ancient ruins, remnants of a time when the desert had been a more hospitable place. One evening, as they were setting up camp, Zara noticed a glimmer on the horizon. It was faint, but unmistakable, a distant light that flickered and danced like a beacon. "Look," she said, pointing towards the horizon. "Could that be a sign of the phoenix?" Kadir narrowed his eyes, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. "It's possible. But we must be cautious. The desert can play tricks on the eyes." Layla, ever the pragmatist, added, "Whatever it is, it's worth investigating. We have nothing to lose." With renewed determination, they altered their course towards the mysterious light. The journey became more treacherous as the terrain grew rougher, but they pressed on, driven by the hope that they were on the right path. One night, as they were navigating a particularly rocky stretch of desert, they encountered a group of desert nomads. The nomads were initially wary of the strangers, but Amara, with her deep understanding of their customs and language, managed to earn their trust. The nomads shared tales of a sacred oasis, a place said to be blessed by the phoenix itself. According to their stories, the oasis lay beyond the Great Divide, a vast chasm that cut through the desert like a scar. "We must reach this oasis," Zara declared. "If the phoenix is real, it will be there." The nomads warned them of the dangers that lay ahead, the treacherous terrain, the fierce sandstorms, and the creatures that prowled the night. But they also provided guidance, marking a map with the safest route and offering supplies to aid them on their journey. With the nomads' help, Zara and her companions continued their trek, their spirits lifted by the possibility that they were drawing closer to their goal. The journey through the Great Divide was as perilous as they had been warned. The chasm was vast and filled with jagged rocks and treacherous paths. They had to navigate carefully, each step a potential hazard. As they neared the end of the Great Divide, a fierce sandstorm descended upon them. The winds howled, and the sands whipped around them, obscuring their vision and making every step a struggle. They huddled together, using their cloaks to shield themselves from the worst of the storm. Zara clung to the hope that they were close, that the storm was a final test of their resolve. Finally, as the storm began to subside, they emerged from the Great Divide and found themselves standing before a lush, verdant oasis. The air was cooler here, and the sound of flowing water was a balm to their weary souls. In the center of the oasis stood an ancient tree, its branches heavy with blossoms and fruit. "This must be it," Zara whispered, her voice filled with awe. "The sacred oasis." As they approached the tree, they felt a sense of peace and reverence. It was as if the very air was charged with magic. Amara stepped forward, her eyes closed in meditation. "The phoenix's power is here," she said. "We are on the right path." The journey had been long and arduous, but Zara and her companions had found what they were searching for. The next step of their quest lay ahead, discovering the phoenix and unlocking its power to save Ashera. The desert had tested them, but they had emerged stronger and more united, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. 3. Secrets of the Desert. The sacred oasis provided a much-needed respite for Zara and her companions. They spent several days there, recuperating and preparing for the next leg of their journey. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers, and the sound of birdsong replaced the constant howling of the desert wind. It was a place of tranquility and renewal, but Zara knew their quest was far from over. One evening, as they gathered around a campfire, Amara shared her knowledge of the ancient legends surrounding the phoenix. The phoenix is not just a creature of fire and rebirth, she explained, her voice soft and melodic. It is a guardian of balance, a protector of life and death. To seek its power is to understand the delicate equilibrium it maintains. Kadir, ever the pragmatist, leaned forward. We need to know where to find it. The oasis is a good start, but it's not enough. Layla, who had been examining the ancient tree at the center of the oasis, returned with a piece of parchment. I found this hidden in the roots, she said, unrolling the parchment to reveal a map. It looks like a guide, but it's in a language I can't decipher. Amara took the parchment and studied it closely. This is written in the old tongue of the desert shamans, she said, tracing the symbols with her finger. It speaks of 3 trials that one must pass to reach the phoenix's sanctuary. The first trial is the trial of the mind, the second is the trial of the heart, and the third is the trial of the soul. Zara felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. What do these trials entail? The map will lead us to each trial, Amara said. But be warned, each trial will test us in ways we cannot imagine. We must be prepared for anything. With their next steps clear, Zara and her companions set out once more, following the map's cryptic directions. The journey led them deeper into the desert, through landscapes that grew increasingly strange and otherworldly. The sands shifted beneath their feet, and the air seemed to shimmer with an ethereal glow. After several days of travel, they arrived at the location marked for the first trial. It was a vast expanse of dunes, with no apparent landmarks. As they stood there, uncertain of what to do next, the sands began to swirl, forming a towering figure made of golden grains. I am the guardian of the mind, the figure intoned. To proceed, you must solve the riddle of the sands. The riddle was complex, involving layers of logic and intuition. They worked together, their combined intellects piecing together the solution. Finally, after what felt like hours, they succeeded, and the guardian of the mind dissolved back into the sands, revealing a hidden passageway. The passageway led them to an underground chamber, where they encountered the second trial, the trial of the heart. This trial required them to confront their deepest fears and insecurities. Each member of the group faced their own personal nightmare, but through their mutual support and trust, they emerged victorious. The final trial, the trial of the soul, was the most challenging. It required them to sacrifice something of great personal value. Zara, in a moment of profound clarity, offered her mother's pendant, a symbol of her love and connection to her past. The sacrifice was accepted, and the path to the phoenix's sanctuary was revealed. As they made their way to the sanctuary, the landscape transformed. The harsh desert gave way to a lush valley, filled with vibrant flora and crystalline streams. In the center of this paradise stood a magnificent temple, its walls adorned with images of the phoenix in all its fiery glory. Inside the temple, they found the phoenix perched atop a grand altar. Its feathers glowed with an otherworldly light, and its eyes seemed to pierce into their very souls. Zara stepped forward, her heart pounding. Great Phoenix, she began, her voice trembling. We seek your aid to save our kingdom from the drought that plagues it. The phoenix regarded them silently for a moment before speaking. To receive my power, you must understand the true meaning of sacrifice and balance. Are you willing to give up everything to restore harmony to your land? Zara nodded, tears in her eyes. We are. The phoenix spread its wings, and a blinding light filled the temple. Zara felt a surge of energy coursing through her, and in that moment, she understood the true nature of the phoenix's power. It was not just about destruction and rebirth, but about maintaining the delicate balance of life. When the light faded, the phoenix was gone, but its essence remained within Zara. She felt a profound connection to the land and a newfound strength within herself. The journey had changed her, and she knew that she now had the power to save Asherah. With their mission accomplished, Zara and her companions began the journey back to their kingdom. The trials had tested them in ways they could never have imagined, but they had emerged stronger and more united. They carried with them the hope of a brighter future and the knowledge that they had the power to bring about change. As they approached Asherah, the skies began to darken, and the first drops of rain fell on the parched land. The people of the kingdom looked up in wonder, their faces filled with joy and relief. Zara stood before them, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. The legend of the phoenix had come to life, and with it, a new chapter in the history of Asherah had begun. 4. The Phoenix's Nest. The journey back to Asherah was both triumphant and bittersweet. Zara and her companions had endured countless trials, and now, with the essence of the phoenix within her, Zara felt an immense responsibility weighing on her shoulders. The first drops of rain brought hope to her people, but Zara knew that their work was far from over. The phoenix's power needed to be harnessed and directed carefully to restore balance fully. As they crossed the familiar dunes and approached the kingdom's gates, the landscape around them seemed to respond to Zara's presence. The once barren and cracked earth began to show signs of life, small green shoots pushing their way through the sand. The people of Asherah gathered to welcome their princess, their faces lit with joy and hope. Inside the palace, Zara convened a council meeting with her most trusted advisors and companions. They needed to plan how to use the phoenix's power to ensure the long-term prosperity of their kingdom. Amara, with her deep understanding of the phoenix's lore, suggested that the first step was to establish a sacred place where the phoenix's essence could be channeled and maintained. We need to create a sanctuary, Amara said, a place where the phoenix's energy can flow freely and bring life back to our land. Kadir and Layla agreed, offering their skills and resources to help build this sanctuary. The palace courtyard, which had long been a place of gathering and celebration, was chosen as the site for the phoenix's nest. It would be transformed into a lush garden, a living testament to the rebirth of Asherah. Over the next several weeks, the courtyard was transformed. Artisans and laborers worked tirelessly, planting trees, flowers, and herbs. A grand fountain was constructed at the center, its waters flowing with a gentle, soothing sound. The walls of the courtyard were adorned with murals depicting the journey of Zara and her companions, and the legend of the phoenix. Zara, with the guidance of Amara, performed rituals to imbue the sanctuary with the phoenix's essence. These rituals were intricate and required a deep connection with the natural elements. Zara felt the phoenix's energy flowing through her, guiding her actions and strengthening her resolve. As the sanctuary neared completion, a grand celebration was planned to inaugurate it. People from all over Asherah came to witness the event, their hearts filled with anticipation. The courtyard, now a vibrant oasis, stood as a symbol of hope and renewal. On the day of the inauguration, Zara stood before her people, her heart filled with pride and humility. She spoke of their journey, the trials they had faced, and the lessons they had learned. She spoke of the phoenix, not just as a mythical creature, but as a symbol of the balance and harmony they needed to uphold. Today, we celebrate not just the return of the phoenix, Zara declared, but the rebirth of our spirit. We are the guardians of this land, and it is our duty to protect and nurture it. As she spoke, the sky above began to clear, and a radiant beam of sunlight illuminated the sanctuary. The fountain sparkled, and the flowers seemed to bloom even brighter. The people of Asherah cheered, their spirits lifted by the sight. The celebration continued into the night, with music, dance, and feasting. Zara moved among her people, sharing in their joy and listening to their stories. She felt a deep connection to them, a bond strengthened by their shared trials and triumphs. Later that night, as the festivities wound down, Zara found herself alone in the sanctuary. The cool night air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers, and the sound of the fountain was a soothing backdrop. She knelt by the fountain, her reflection shimmering in the water. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with gratitude, "for giving us hope and for guiding us through the darkness." In that moment, Zara felt a warmth envelop her, a gentle presence that reassured her. She knew that the phoenix was with her, watching over Asherah and its people. The journey had been arduous, but it had forged bonds that would not be easily broken. The phoenix's nest became a place of pilgrimage for the people of Asherah, a sacred space where they could connect with the essence of the phoenix and find solace. The land began to heal, the oasis flourished, and the drought became a distant memory. Zara and her companions continued to lead with wisdom and compassion, ensuring that the lessons they had learned would be passed down to future generations. The legend of the phoenix and the story of their journey became an integral part of Asherah's heritage, a reminder of the power of hope, sacrifice, and unity. As the years passed, Zara looked back on their adventure with a sense of fulfillment and peace. The phoenix's nest stood as a testament to their resilience and the enduring spirit of Asherah. And though their journey had come to an end, the legacy of the phoenix lived on, guiding and inspiring them for generations to come. 5. The price of power. The initial euphoria of their victory over the Shadowstone soon gave way to a more somber realization for Zara and her companions. The power of the phoenix had been restored, but the lessons they had learned weighed heavily on them. The dark energy that had disrupted their land served as a stark reminder that such power, if unchecked, could lead to catastrophic consequences. With the Shadowstone destroyed, Zara felt a profound connection to the phoenix's essence, a bond that had grown stronger through the trials they had faced. This connection, however, also came with a deeper understanding of the responsibility she now bore. The power of the phoenix was not just a blessing, it was a burden that required careful stewardship. As the weeks passed, Zara began to notice subtle changes in herself. The phoenix's energy coursed through her veins, granting her abilities that bordered on the supernatural. She could sense the emotions of her people, feel the pulse of the land, and even influence the weather to some extent. But with these gifts came a cost, the constant drain on her own vitality. One evening, as she stood in the phoenix's nest, Zara confided in Amara about her growing concerns. "I can feel the phoenix's power within me, but it is also draining me. I don't know how much longer I can sustain this." Amara, wise and compassionate, nodded in understanding. "The power of the phoenix is immense, and it requires a balance. You are not meant to bear this burden alone. We must find a way to share it, to ensure that the balance is maintained without sacrificing yourself." Together, they devised a plan to distribute the phoenix's energy more evenly across the land and its people. They created a series of rituals that would allow the essence of the phoenix to be channeled into various sacred sites throughout Asherah. These sites would act as conduits, dispersing the energy and ensuring that no single person or place bore the full weight of its power. The rituals were complex and required the cooperation of the entire kingdom. Over the next several months, Zara and her companions traveled across Asherah, performing the rituals and teaching the people how to maintain the balance. Each sacred site became a beacon of hope and renewal, a place where the phoenix's energy could flow freely and benefit all. Despite their efforts, Zara continued to feel the strain of her connection to the phoenix. She knew that the ultimate price of wielding such power was a personal one. Her health began to deteriorate, and she found herself growing weaker with each passing day. But her resolve remained unbroken. She was determined to see her mission through, no matter the cost. One night, as she lay in her bed, Zara had a vision. The phoenix appeared before her, its fiery wings spreading wide. "You have done well, Zara," the phoenix said, its voice resonating with warmth and wisdom. "But you must understand that true balance requires sacrifice. Your life force is entwined with mine, and to ensure the prosperity of your kingdom, you must be willing to let go." Tears filled Zara's eyes as she realized the full extent of her sacrifice. "I understand," she whispered. "I am ready." The next morning, Zara gathered her companions and shared her vision. "The phoenix has shown me what must be done," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I must release my connection to its power to restore the balance fully. This is my final act of love for Asherah." Her friends protested, but Zara was resolute. "This is the price of power, the ultimate sacrifice. But it is not an end, it is a beginning. The phoenix's energy will live on through you and through the sacred sites we have created. Asherah will continue to thrive." In a solemn ceremony, Zara performed the final ritual. She stood at the heart of the phoenix's nest, surrounded by her companions and the people of Asherah. As she chanted the ancient incantations, a brilliant light enveloped her. The phoenix's essence flowed out of her and into the land, filling the sacred sites with its life-giving energy. As the light faded, Zara collapsed, her strength spent. Amara and Kadir rushed to her side, their faces etched with grief and admiration. Zara looked up at them, a serene smile on her face. "Asherah will prosper," she whispered. "Promise me you will protect it." "We promise," they replied, their voices choked with emotion. With her final breath, Zara felt a profound sense of peace. She had fulfilled her destiny, ensuring the prosperity and balance of her beloved kingdom. The legend of the phoenix had come full circle, and her sacrifice would be remembered for generations to come. The people of Asherah mourned their princess, but they also celebrated her life and the legacy she had left behind. The sacred sites flourished, and the land continued to thrive, a testament to Zara's love and sacrifice. The phoenix's nest became a place of pilgrimage and reflection, a reminder of the price of power and the enduring spirit of Asherah. As the years passed, stories of Princess Zara and her companions were told and retold, becoming part of the rich tapestry of Asherah's history. The balance they had fought so hard to achieve remained, a delicate harmony that required constant care and vigilance. And so, the legend of the phoenix and the tale of Princess Zara lived on, inspiring future generations to strive for balance, to cherish their land, and to understand that true power comes with a price, but also with the potential for great beauty and renewal.